Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a truly fascinating legal battle. Now, anyone who's ever dealt with a strict neighborhood association knows that tensions can run incredibly high over the absolute smallest details. But today, we're unpacking a case that escalated from a simple, unapproved architectural modification into a high-stakes, multi-year showdown in the Maricopa County Superior Court. It's really a perfect case study of what happens when the strict, down-to-the-letter enforcement of community rules collides head-on with real-world practicality. So let's kick things off with a question that honestly sounds a bit absurd. How much disruption could a mundane dispute over a single door actually cause? You'd probably think a quick conversation, maybe a couple of emails, or at worst, a small fine would settle the whole shebang. But as we're about to see straight from the court records, this one door triggered a massive civil lawsuit that chewed up incredible amounts of time, money, and judicial resources. Part 1. The disputed door. Our case study kicks off back in April 2013, and it centers on a highly relatable yet intensely fought conflict over neighborhood rules. Anyone living or working in a community governed by a homeowners or condominium association knows that the CC&Rs, the covenants, conditions, and restrictions, are no joke. They strictly govern exactly what you can and cannot do with your property. In one corner of this legal boxing ring, we've got the plaintiff, the Chauncey Ranch Office Condominium Association. And in the opposite corner, the defendant, the North Scottsdale Pain Center, which is an active, bustling medical clinic. They're squaring off over an unapproved door that the Pain Center installed to improve access to their facility. It's a classic mismatch, right? A strict enforcement committee going up against a healthcare facility that's just trying to operate efficiently. Right out of the gate, there was absolutely zero mystery about what happened here. It was an undisputed fact that the Pain Center put the door in without getting the required green light from the association. They completely admitted to it. They violated the CC&Rs. So, looking strictly at the rulebook, you might assume this is an open and shut case for the condo association. Well, the legal reality turned out to be far more complicated. Which brings us to Section 2. The court demands haste. As this litigation dragged on from 2013 into 2014, the presiding judge at the time, Honorable Lisa Daniel Flores, started to genuinely lose her patience. You can literally feel the court's exasperation in the official record. The attorneys for both sides actually submitted a proposed schedule that would let discovery drag on until February 2015, meaning a trial wouldn't even happen until the summer of 2015. Judge Flores flat out rejected that timeline. She demanded the parties explain the complexity of the issues that could possibly justify such a massive delay, or else find a much faster schedule. Taking 2 full years to litigate a door was simply clogging up the court's calendar. Just let this timeline sink in for a second. The initial complaint gets filed in April 2013. Nearly a year later, in March 2014, the judge is rejecting their slow timeline. Discovery finally wraps up on the last day of December 2014, and the final ruling doesn't even land until April 2015. That is 2 full years of legal wrangling, thousands of pages of discovery, and untold lawyer fees over an entryway. It absolutely tested the limits of judicial efficiency. Section 3. The legal chess match. So, what exactly was going on during all those months of delay? If they were just arguing over a fairly standard commercial door, why on earth did it take 2 years? Well, it really comes down to the aggressive, behind-the-scenes strategies the lawyers were using to outmaneuver each other. Both sides were locked in this relentless back and forth. The dockets are just jammed with motions to extend time, applications for counsel to withdraw, and endless telephonic status conferences. It got so contentious that there were emergency motions for protective orders, and the association even tried to suppress the deposition transcript of a key witness. They were fighting tooth and nail over every procedural step, using tactics you'd expect in corporate espionage, not a spat over a clinic side door. Then, a massive turning point hits on December 31st, 2014. The court explicitly ordered that all discovery, except for a few very specific depositions, had to be definitively wrapped up by this day. This meant the clock had run out for the association to provide a formal computation and measure of their financial damages. Missing this strict, unforgiving deadline became a fatal turning point for the Condominium Association's entire case. All right, Section 4, the final verdict. We are now in April 2015. The case has been transferred to a new judge, Honorable Patricia Ann Starr, and the entire multi-year dispute, with all its wild motions and arguments, is about to hinge entirely on a critical oral argument regarding a motion for summary judgment filed by the Pain Center. To quickly level set on summary judgment here, it's basically a formal request for the court to rule that there's no genuine dispute about the material facts of the case, meaning you don't even need a full trial to reach a conclusion. The medical clinic was arguing that based purely on the established law and the undisputed facts already on the table, the condo association could not possibly win its claims. So why had the clinic make that argument? Well, the association's main claim was a standard breach of contract. But under the law, proving a breach of contract requires proving 3 specific things. The contract exists, the contract was breached, and you suffered resulting financial damages. Because the association missed that December 31st deadline, they essentially had 0 legally admissible proof of damages. At the final oral argument, they desperately scrambled, trying to introduce a new theory of nominal damages based on tax values. But Judge Starr firmly ruled that this last-minute disclosure was way too late and simply insufficient. Their primary breach of contract claim completely collapsed right on the spot. Because of that, the entire case shifted to their second claim, injunction relief, specifically relying on a concept called specific performance. In plain English, they weren't asking for money anymore. They wanted the judge to issue a court order that literally forced the clinic to rip the door out of the wall. But the law clearly states that for specific performance to be granted, it cannot inflict a hardship on the other party or the public that somehow outweighs the benefit to the association. Now, this is where the numbers get absolutely staggering. According to the undisputed facts vetted in court, to physically remove this door, reconstruct the wall, and then go through the proper channels to seek permission to install it somewhere else would cost the medical clinic approximately $245,000. $245,000 over a single door. And you know, the cost here wasn't just financial. Beyond that massive $250,000 price tag, the real-world consequences were severe. The undisputed facts proved that this relocation process would require the complete temporary closure of the North Scottsdale Pain Center for months. We are talking about a highly functional medical facility treating patients daily. The association's demand for strict rule enforcement would have literally blocked patients from receiving vital pain management care for months, creating an immense hardship for the general public. Looking at this stark balance of harm, Judge Starr delivered a totally uncompromising conclusion. She wrote that no reasonable fact finder could find that specific performance would not inflict hardship on either the clinic and/or the public. Nor could any reasonable fact finder find that the anticipated benefit to the association would somehow outweigh the real-world hardship inflicted by requiring them to relocate the door. The result? Judge Starr ruled entirely in favor of the medical clinic. She officially granted the motion for summary judgment, which effectively tossed out the Condominium Association's entire case. This absurdly expensive, heavily litigated saga of the unapproved entryway finally came to a definitive close, with the pain center allowed to keep their door exactly where it was. Ultimately, real-world practicality beat out rigid bureaucracy. This explainer really leaves us with an incredibly powerful question to chew on. We all fundamentally understand the importance of contracts, honoring our agreements, and playing by community rules. But when enforcing those rules strictly by the book requires shutting down an entire medical facility and forcing a business to spend nearly $250,000 over a single doorway, where should the law draw the line? It is a fascinating look at the delicate balance between upholding the strict letter of a contract and recognizing the devastating practical realities of enforcing it in the real world. Thanks so much for joining me to explore this incredible case.